Well, hello people, it's Peter here, and yeah, I'm back down in the old man shed. It's a Monday afternoon, it's 5:30 on a Monday, and well, the 1st of September, yeah. The weather, I've got the door shut because the weather is sunshine and showers, so rather, if I had the door open with the sun coming out, it'd all be streaming through. So I thought nice, and it's all right. It's a nice 24 degrees here, so it's very pleasant. But yeah, so I'm back down in the man shed because I've been doing something for my brother. All right, so nothing to do with Torridon Road. Oh, just to explain, the video before this one that has been uploaded onto YouTube was an accident. It was about half an hour of running clips, wasn't it? Of the Class 60, all the bits and pieces that I like to do, and film, and then I sort of stick it on the end of something like this where I'm having the chat and I say, oh yeah, the running clips come on. Well, what I did, I made all some running clips, about half hour's worth, and then uploaded it to YouTube as an experiment. I was trying something out to see how quickly it would do. And then I was able to view it on YouTube as a private file, so nobody else got access to it. But when I was happy with it and finished with it, I don't know what happened, but instead of deleting it, it got published. So that's why there's a video of Torridon Road without me chatting over it or doing, no introduction, me not chatting on it, and it just finishing and probably leaving you all up in the air thinking, well, what was all that about? Well, that should have been the running clips that goes on normally at the end of something like this. So anyway, done and dusted. Yeah, hope you would, just go and have a look if you want to see running clips of Torridon Road. Yes, it's all good. But Torridon Road, yeah, it's running fine. It's caused so many bloody heat waves this summer, didn't we? But it's all good. But this video is not about Torridon Road or any of my rolling stock. This is all to do a favour for my brother. All right. Now let me explain. I think you may or may not know that I'm half Italian. All right. I had an Italian mother. She was Venetian. She was born in Venice, and so we have got relatives that's still out there in the Veneto area. So our holidays, my brother and I, was to go by train because it was too expensive to fly. He never flew back in the 60s or 60s, 70s, 80s. Yeah, I think it was when we kept on, going by train. Obviously, so we went on the overnight couchettes and so yeah, we got a love of European trains, specifically the French, the Swiss, and the Italians. All right, because that's how we travelled and everything. So we know our Italian trains. When we got into modelling and everything, I've shown you before when I've done an HO running session. Even to this day, up in my loft, I've got a layout that I was hoping to, carry on with. That would have been not English outline, but Italian outline, Italian and Swiss predominantly, and it's still up there. And I retrieved the locos from the loft. They're all running fine, but that was me. But my brother, but then I built Torridon Road here in the shed, which is English outline, okay, and 00. But I still love my Italian trains, so they're in the display cabinet inside the house now. But my brother, on the other hand, he knows, he runs the HO stuff. He's got a little layout, basically just track with lots of buildings and things like that. He hasn't gone to all the bother of scenic it up like I have with Torridon Road, but he can run his trains, and I think he does HOE as well. So it's all he does all continental stuff. But he had a problem. He bought a loco, so we're going back over 5 years now. Now I know it's over 5 years ago because of email correspondence that he had with Messrs Hornby. All right, because what happened, he went onto an Italian website, shop in Italy and everything, to buy a loco by Rivarossi. And no problem, it all sort of came through. It's probably waited 2 weeks for it to arrive, and which it did, and he sort of ran it and it all fine, and then he sort of like put it away or something. So something happened that he wasn't using it anymore. Then he goes to use it again, and it just so happens he's got 2 of this particular model. And when he went, one model was running silent, so that was the same as before. But this model now made a clicking noise as it started to go round. So it all ran perfectly, but it just had a click, 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 click. You know, speed dependent, depending how fast it was going. The quicker the clicking or the slower the clicking, depending how fast or slow. And he didn't know what it was. And he's not. He's older than me, so his eyesight's probably worse than mine. And certainly, you know, when it comes to sort of handling doing delicate things and everything, he's not as. I'm still not there yet. Thankfully, I can still do it. But anyway, the thing is, he said to me, you know, when I got to know about what happened, because he didn't tell me at first, he had this motor. He didn't know what this clicking was. It came from Italy, so good luck with the guarantee on that and everything, you know, especially the fact that he had it for a while and put it away, so, you know, might have been out of guarantee. So what he's thinking was, well, it's Rivarossi, and who owned Rivarossi? It's Hornby, isn't it? So he got onto Hornby and sent the model back to Hornby and said, look, can you fix it? Thinking, yeah, you know, Hornby owned Rivarossi. I think he said they had it for 6 months. Yeah, because he kept on, you know, he fired off a couple of emails, sort of saying, "Can you let us know what's happening?" Because they never, you know, they never let you know what stage the repair is at if they are successfully repairing it. No, just silence. It was only my brother firing off emails to them saying, you know, any word on it yet? So yeah, 6 months later he got it back, still clicking. All right. So, had it 6 months. Oh no, sorry, can't do anything. You know, we've had a look at it and it's running all right. Sort of, you know, I can't tell you exactly if that's what was said because it's, you know, they're dealing with my brother. But I mean, you know, my brother wasn't best pleased because he's got the thing back. It's been away for 6 months, and as far as he's concerned, nothing's absolutely happened to it. They did have it apart, and I know that. All right, because this is where I get involved now. So my brother tells me the woes about that, and we start. I think, and he said, "Oh, it's making a click." And I said, "Sounds like a split gear, Richard." You know, and I was saying because it's got drive at both ends of this model. I said, "Have you, you know, disconnected a drive shaft from one end? You know, to determine which one is going wrong?" You know. And my brother's going, "Oh yeah, but no, I don't want to take it apart, Peter, you know, because I'm not good enough to do that." So anyway, in the end, I've got the model, and this is the model in question. All right, it's Italian. It's a sort of electric model from the 1980s in Italian, you know, in the tiger livery. As you can see, it's drive from here, drive from there. And this centre axle can pivot and turn and everything, so it goes around the tracks. So yes, it was a gear, and it wasn't just the one. 2 had gone on this bogie, 1 had definitely gone on this bogie, and the 4th one, which was still operational, was about to go because when I took all these off and just left the one drive wheel, and it was still clicking. So even though it was gripping okay and it hadn't actually completely split, I'll show you the part in a minute. You got the gear, and then you got also a little shaft alongside it, and the gear had split but the shaft was still intact, but it was about to split. So basically it needed all replacing. Now the thing is, what I want to show you this model about, right, you can still get, we know this is 5 years old, this model. It's up to date. It's got a motor in the middle, you know, drive shaft each side, driving the bogies. Typical, just if you've got a Hornby 67 or a Hornby Class 60, you know how a Hornby, you know, the drive, it's the same thing. You've got the motor in the middle, got this fantastic little drive shaft system each side. That's all fine, and it all goes through a nice load of gears down in the bogies and everything, in reduction gears and whatever. But the gear on the actual drive wheels, which got traction tyres on 2 of them as well, because it's an HO model. I don't know. It's very heavy. I don't know why they bother with traction tyres, but there you go. So it's got to have traction tyres. And Richard, I have to tell you, one of the traction tyres on this one already has come off, so it's loose. It needs replacing, but I don't have the traction tyres. So just to let you know that when you get this back, you have got a traction tyre issue on this as well. But anyway, so yeah, so on the actual wheels, the gear is broken. Now the thing is getting hold of the parts. We know there's Peter Spares that sometimes stop at foreign parts. Probably stop from Hornby. And there's a company in Cardiff, Lendons of Cardiff as well. This again seems to be the go-to place of people that model HO stuff in this country for hopefully spare parts. No, nobody could come up with anything. Yes, you can get other gears and things like that, but out of luck for that particular model. So, oh blimey, I was scouring the internet and everything, and yeah, I don't know any sort of Italian websites or something. You can buy new locos. Plenty of websites come up if you want to buy a new locomotive, but not for spares. So I went on to RM Web and threw out a help on the continental modelling side, on the foreign modelling side of the forum. I put it out there, said, look, guys, anywhere, we've tried Lendons at Cardiff, we know Peter Spares. Where do you guys go to abroad? Anybody got any indication? Anyone got help with a company that's abroad that might have spares for River Rossi? Because the annoying thing about this, guys. Sorry, I keep going on, but because this is a Pucker River Rossi model. There's the worksheet. Can you see that with all the spares? When you get these with the models and you got all stripped down showing you all the spares and everything, and all the part numbers are there. Yeah, doesn't matter. All right, you do a search for the part number. No, it's not there. But this model is produced to this day. All right, you can buy the newer version of this model, and it hasn't changed. I'll tell you what has changed. They've got a driver figure in the cab now. And that's it. It looks exactly the same. So whether or not if they've got revised part list for the new model, and so that's why we can't find anything under the old parts, I just don't know. But we looked and searched, and then to find, it's annoying to find that you can get this model or the new version of it, which is all it is got a drive. They might have done, because this is DC ready. All right, it's got an 8-pin decoder, socket in here for an 8-pin decoder. So maybe the new upgrade have made it a 21-pin or a flux or plus or whatever they call it, another sort of socket. But that might be what the upgrade is, and then also at the same time stick a driver in it for once. So that might be why there's a new version of this. But otherwise, it looks exactly the same. So therefore, I'm assuming that the drive train will be exactly the same. So why can't we get parts? Because if it's still being made, and in actual fact, I think what happened is my brother went back onto Hornby recently and said to the guy, look, what's going on? River Rossi is still producing this model. And he said, yeah, I know. He says, in actual fact, there's a pre-order out because there's a new version that you can pre-order. So my brother said, well, why can't I get parts? If you're literally producing the model, why can't you get the parts? Still couldn't help him. He said, I'll get on to River Rossi, Italy. And they just came back and said, no parts. So that was good. It was a question of, you didn't buy it from us, so get on with it, I reckon. That's how helpful it all turned out to be. But the story is that thanks to RM Web, someone came back and gave me an Italian website which deals in, how sort of people, if a company specialises in replacing parts for your ready-to-run models. Even maybe it's a better motor or different wheel. Anyway, whatever it is, they produce aftermarket parts for both Lima and River Rossi. And one of the aftermarket parts was, I'll show you. You can see here these little things in red is the gears, right? Now I don't know why I put them in here, but the little black pits you can see, that's the split gears, all right, 4 of them. You get in this packet, you get 12 new gears to replace those ones. Okay, so this company in Italy that does replacement gear sets and things like that, But not only is it an exact replacement, it's the right size gear and everything. When you take the wheel apart in order to get the gear off, it has to come across where the wheel attaches onto the shaft. There's splines. When you take the gear off, it has to run across those splines. What they've done, they've produced the new gear ever so slightly larger centre hole, so that when it goes over, it's a bit easier to get across the splines. Okay, because that's where a lot of the damage to the gear is, the stress of being pushed over a set of splines which is needed for the wheel. I mean, I did something silly. I thought to myself, well, I wonder if I can glue it. When I took the gear off, I sort of clamped it all up, tried to glue it, and it all looked fantastic. As soon as I tried to put it onto the shaft, it went onto those splines, and bang, it all cracked open again, so that was no good. So this company appreciates the fact that there's something, you're really stressing the plastic when you're pushing it over the spline of the shaft that the wheel has to fit onto, right? The isolated wheel. So that's fine, because that's a plastic insert, so it goes onto the spline, all good. But it stresses the gear. So they've made the centre holes ever so slightly bigger than standard. So what that means, it goes over the spline a little bit easier, but when it's on the actual shaft, and bearing in mind the shaft is just what it is, it's as smooth as anything, you can turn the gear. All right, it's not loose, but it's loose enough that it obviously doesn't grip. So we've got to introduce glue. Now at the moment I've done that and it's working fine. So I've used a thick super glue, first putting it all on, so I know that it's actually, put it on the shaft first and then the gear went over that, and so I know it's got glue inside, and then also at each end I've glued again, but being careful not to get it in any way near the actual driving mechanism, and then just let it set. And I'm just thinking, my thinking is that because it is four-wheel, is it four-wheel drive? No, more than that, 8-wheel drive, 2, 4, 6, 8-wheel drive. They've all been replaced, they've all been glued. This is not going to pull a ton in weight, so you're not putting that much stress through the gearing and everything. I mean, there's a whole spate of gears in the gear tower, taking it from the worm drive above it, just like our own setup. And I just thought to myself, I reckon it, should be all right. If it doesn't, I'll have to, use an arrow dye, sort of like a double, a glue which you have to mix up with something or other. But for now, I've used a thick acetate super glue, and it seems to be doing a job. Now, I can't say positively because I can't test it. I can test it on the rolling road, and I can test it on about 1.5 foot of straight track that I can put on my desktop here, and the rolling road runs fine. It's got a little bit of a wobble to it because the traction tyre is going, but otherwise I'm going to show you that now. But nevertheless, thanks to RM Web, they got to be onto this website called this company here, Linear Model or something rather, and then this is all about how to replace it. As you can see, that this is their own version of the wheel extractor, because you got to get the wheel off, which was a bit of a job. But yeah, you've got all bits and pieces, all in Italian, so it's very helpful. But at the end of the day, you end up with a wheel like that one with the red gear in the middle, and I've been able to do that. And I'll tell you what, the other nice thing about this is the way the pickups work. The pickups run, all right, you got your normal wheel, but you've got a wheel that's internal of that the pickup wire sits on into. See, whatever, look, can you see the shape of that wheel? It's got an inner area, I don't know what you can call it, but it's got a groove in it, and that's where the pickups, so they don't just rub against the back of the wheel for the pickup, it actually locates in that groove, and so therefore you get absolutely fantastic unbreakable pickups, because it's actually resting on that, you've got a little bit of movement on that wheel, and it's pushing up on the little connector, and yeah, you get perfect current pickup. And so that's on all the wheels, so all wheel pickup, all wheel drive. Anyway, let me show you it in action. All right, and then I'm going to show you my model. This is the one that I brought down from the shed. So here we have at least a 5-year-old model of that loco. My one is over 45 years old, all right, because this is what I brought down from the shed when I had my HO layout running. Still running, and I'll give you a little close-up and we'll have a look and see what you get, you know, what a difference 40 years has made. So let's have a look. Right, here we are. So this is what's left of the gears, yeah? So you can see, so the black ones are the original gears, they're split. The red ones are the new replacements, they're exact replacements, but as I say, the central hole is slightly bigger, so it's easier to slip over the wheels. But then of course I had to glue. Right, so that, anyway, whatever, it's done, and we've got, Richard's got about, what, another 2, 4, 6, 8, another 8 spare gears in there, plus I've also got another packet for him. So he could, because these gears evidently are okay for River Rossi and I think even Lima. So because this is what the company deals with, those makes. Right, so let's bring in, so here she is. Now the reason why I said to you I knew that Hornby had got into it is because this thing here, the snow plough, or yeah, we call it a snow or air dam, it's a simple screw to attach it, and it is, so there's no coupling at this end, it's all detail, yeah, and at the other end you have got the coupling that comes through it, yeah, so it's a different air dam, and then there's no other detail at this end. But before I took it all apart, this was at the end with all the detail, so it was damaging the detail, and this one was obviously back there. And you thought to yourself, well, how the hell can the couple, yeah, they moved the coupling, that's right, so they swapped it over, they put the coupling at this end, and that air dam, not this one, was all squashing up all the little plastic bits and, you know, the air brakes and everything. So much so that it's, there's a little hook missing, believe it or not, just there. See that red hook there, but there's only the hole at the other side, and I had to replace this silver coupling. It's not a coupling, it's a sort of like junction, you know, electrical connection, whatever it is, because it was missing. Where they'd swapped it over, they damaged it, and that's what it should look like. But you know, so I've replaced it with something that I had from my bits and pieces from back in the day when I was modelling Italian stuff. So it's very similar, it's this little thing there. So that's all fine now. But yeah, so quite stiff, the older thing. So yeah, all-wheel drive, traction tyres, you can see there, you can see the gear, plastic gear in there, can't you? But that's all fine, I can't move them, it's all gripping very well. This is floating, so it goes around curves, and then the same at this end, all, yeah. But no detail, well, you can see cab detail, but certainly not a driver fitted. And this is, and then a nice, you know, nice detail on the top here with photo etched, you know, this is metal, and then you've got other little bits and pieces, and then of course it's made out of metal, so the pantograph picks up current if you want, all right, because you can elect to have the current from overhead wires or from 2 rails. So once, you know, overhead rail from the top, picking up on one side. But the traction tyres on this thing, you've got one there on that side and one there on that side. So that model was 5 years old, and it suffered catastrophic failure of the gears. Now, so as I said, I know that's 5 years old because of Richard's correspondence with Hornby. That's how long ago it was, and he's hoping that even now, even though I've fixed it, he's hoping, they said they might find something that might be suitable. So we still don't know what might come from Hornby, because there was a very nice guy in the end at Hornby. The guy, I think, is the only guy that does any of the repairs. The poor bloke, he gets it all come from him. He said after he got the very negative no from Italy saying we haven't got parts, he said let me try and sort of work out and see if I can, because I do know that this is in pre-production. Maybe I better, you know, try and see if I can sort something out for you. You can see it's sprung buffers, yeah. When you consider what you're paying for HO models, it's, you know, the Cavalax and the Accurascale models that we're getting today, this is still more expensive, you know what I mean? And this is only DCC ready. And yet, you know, you get working lights, and that's it. There's no cab lights, obviously not sound fitted, but that's it with this model. You just get working lights, and yet, you know, you're looking at a couple of £100 odd quid, and then of course by the time you import it or whatever, don't know. But that's the latest one. Now let me bring you in something that's over 40 years old, which is my Lima. Let's get it around the right way so it looks the same. There we are, with the tunnels. Now, straight away the difference you can see is the pantograph, right? But, and also this detail on the top here. There is some photo etched, well, or plastic image there. But these rectifiers and things, and the fact that all the cabling and everything is all moulded, whereas that one I think is being picked out. So that's the difference. It looks totally different to that. But this model is based on the very first versions of these trains coming out. The real locomotive in Italy. It came with a single pantograph, not the new style that we got there. So they're both correct, all right. Also, what Lima did, see, this guy's a little Tiger, all right. So they're called Tiger locomotives. The one behind the Tiger is in the correct position, all right. Lima, for some reason, decided to print it there, and which is wrong. But the other thing that Lima did do correctly was the size, was the scale. It was this light was one of their first goes at this particular model of loco in the real world, and they did a damn good job on it. This one now is okay, but Rivaros's first versions of this particular model evidently was overscale a little bit. It's not quite 00, but certainly not HO. But that's been rectified now. But this is, as I say, it's 40 odd years old. It relies on the old, what we call pancake motors, yeah. And as you can see, traction tyres. Nothing again. The middle bogies loose. This is all undriven, but it just gets pick up. You can see very large flanged wheels because, you know. But nevertheless, the detail and the fact that this model is a perfect working order. Oh, and all this stuff I attached. It didn't come. It comes. Oh, it's got the buffers. Yeah, it comes. I mean, even with the snowplow on the end with the pickup, I've done that because it didn't come with any air dam or snowplow, as we like to call it. This was all bare, and likewise, as you can see, there's no pipe work or anything. That's the way it came. But I had super detail, you know me and my super detail, and so even 40 odd years ago I was up to wanted to put pipes and things on and everything, which I obviously did. So yeah, this is all, you know, this is all extra. Yeah, and that there, whereas at that end, the only thing else on this end is the snowplow. You can see there's nothing else got put onto it. Anyway, so yeah. And also, this is interesting. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but can you see the wear on the pantograph? Because I used to run it off the overhead lines. This little hole here, you can't see with the camera, but if you put a little screwdriver in there, oh, I've got a little screwdriver. Yeah, you put the little screwdriver in there. You find the little tab, and you twist it either to the left or to the right. And what you're doing is you're taking the contact either from the pantograph or making it pick up from the two wheels. So that hole shouldn't be there really, but it's what they use so that you can then adjust it for two rail or overhead and second rail. But so you could see the wear on that pantograph where it used to run underneath my lines. And as I say, if you look at that video that I put on when I said my HO layout up in the loft, you will see that it's got when I was still working on it, it's got one complete loop all with overhead catenary wires, even in the sidings at the back. You can see that on the video I made up in the loft. But otherwise, the condition is 100%, because I looked after, I look after my locos, and all nice and clean. Yeah, but there you are. So there's the two. There's the two side by side, and slightly different colour, obviously, I guess. But there. So this one's Lima, and that's Riverossi. Now I'm gonna get out a tiny little bit of track that I've got, so I can show you this one running, and it's not making any clicking noises. Don't think there's anything else to talk about other than that. It's just the fact that there we are, from two different manufacturers, 45 years apart. Again, no driver in this one either. I don't think I put a driver in. Some cab detail, but all moulded plastic. It does have lights, but of course we're talking a bulb, not LEDs. This one's got LEDs fitted, so it's much better. But that's what you had back in the day. Right, let's get it on a track. Right, so I'll just show you guys the finished article. So that's very easy. Just take off the moulding. That's it. Just a simple moulding. No extra details stuck on. So it's not like the Cavalexes or a Curascales. The moulding has got all the detail, and then it's very simple. I suppose you can call it the base, base keeper plate. Just 2 screws, and you remove it. There's obviously all the gears. This is what you get, all the gears, a nice range of gears going down to up to the gear tower and the worm drive. This is what's the interesting bit I was saying about this, the pickup. Yeah, here, this wire has to fit, and I'll bring the wheel in. Here's the wheel I was talking about. Didn't know what it was called, but you can see this extra bit that's on the back of the wheel, and that groove, yeah, on both sides. So the pickup wires do not just wipe against the back of the wheel, they sit, or they run in that groove. So when you put this back, you've got to make sure that this, and where is it? It's there, isn't it? It's there, it's sprung. Yeah, you see that wire? You have to make sure. Now let's have a look. I'm doing it in front of the camera, but when it goes on, if it fits inside the groove, you get a spring effect on the wheel, and that wire, when you put it all back on at the end, you have to check that that wire is sitting on that groove, and that's it. So there's no bearings, unless that is what it relies on, the bearing. Look, you can see this, it's actually moving with it. Look, see, so that's fine. So look, there it is. There it's sitting in the, yeah. So obviously there's the gears. So take off the insulated side of the wheel that I told you. Roughed up the shaft a little bit with a bit of emery paper, just to get a bit scoring on that nice, very clean shaft. So hopefully the glue had something to stick to, and obviously made sure that there's correct position so that the wheel sits in there, and as you can see, it engages with the rest of the gears. But that's it. So that's what I had to do then, guys. All right. So I'll put this back together, but that's it. Very simple. Okay, and then obviously that just goes on top, and you screw it down, and just when you finish, make sure that that's what the pickup is running in the groove. Okay, right, excuse the mess. I just literally haven't got any space in order to show you this, only about a foot or so. So yeah, bit of straight track, a trusty old clipper connected to it. Let's see if she works. She won't be going fast enough that I can show you the lights under DC control, but let's see if she will move. Yeah, very nicely, and nice and smooth and quiet, Richard. All right. Yeah, very controllable, and the old clipper's really working well. I mean, this thing must be, again, this thing is 50+ years old. It's what we used to run. This old controller used to operate Hornby 00 train. The old metal free rail. We used this. So this is possibly 50 or 60. Oh, Jesus, I don't know. Oh dear. But anyway, it's still working, and as you can see, gives lovely control over what is just a DC powered loco. But I can't. Let's see. I've got to put it on the rolling road, and then you'll see about the lights. Put the power on. We have white lights. Let's get 3 white lights coming on. You see, it's not too bad. A little bit of movement as it's moving on the old rolling road. But Richard, can you hear? Silent. You know, obviously you can hear gears and everything running, but he used to keep going click, 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 which he's not doing now. And now in reverse, you just get the red light. So that's the Rivarossi, as far as I'm concerned. So providing that glue holds up, she's running fine. But that's all you get for a lot of money for HO. Working lights and yeah, fitted detail, because I didn't have to do any of that. That's how it comes. But they did put the wrong plough at the wrong end, and really, you know, a couple of bits went missing, which I've replaced, and these vacuum pipes and things were, you know, getting distorted out of the way because there was a coupling coming through which it shouldn't have had. But that just shows, as I said, I knew that someone had taken it apart and not put it back together correctly. Hey ho. Now the turn of the Lima. Let's have again. She's on the rolling road. There you go. Not bad, not too, quite nice and running. Still a good old loco at the end of, but you know, the lights are coming on, but hardly anything at all. Even the top light comes on, but this is the old wheat bulb. I'll get her going at full pelt, but look how rock steady she is. What a good old model. That's it, alright. But that's not making a lot of noise considering it's actually going at full chat. And then if you put it in reverse, nothing. Because all you get is white lights. So nothing in reverse, just in front. And of course all this detail is what I said, is what I put on. But yeah, she's now back to running from the 2 rail. But otherwise it was picking up from the top and from 1 rail, which is why back in the day I was able to have 2 locos running just with the duet running on the same bit of track. Because if, say like in this case, say like I had this one running from the pantograph above, picking it up from the lines above and 1 track, then I'll have this one, say like I had another loco, picking up from the 2 wires, you know, from the track. And so I could have 2 locos butt up to each other and move away, because I had independent control. Because up in the loft I haven't got the single duet, I've got the no, I've got the duet, sorry, no, not a clipper, I've got a duet, so I was able to control 2 locos. But there we are then, guys. Right, finished. Well, there we are then, guys. Okay, so yeah, so gone on rather a lot, haven't we? But it's about these 2 locos at the end of the day, and if the fact that literally got no help from anywhere as to regards, you know, we had a loco that's not past its sales by date, but you know, to get it fixed, it's just taken forever. It took. Thankfully, RM Web, a guy came up trumps and said, try this website, and yeah, it all happened. It's taken about 2 weeks, I suppose, for the parts to arrive from there, but yeah, all good. So thankfully, we've got the Rivarossi has been repaired, but no thanks to Hornby. We still don't know if the guy, nice as he was, you know, tried to be helpful, said he would try to see if not that part, if he could find something that could be suitable. But we haven't heard from him, so we just don't, you know, it just goes on forever, you know. So in the end, I just acted and sent off for these things, hoping, I didn't know they was going to work, but I was hoping, you know, because it said for Rivarossi and Lima and everything, I thought to myself, well, there's not that many sizes of gears that they're going to use in a gear train, so give it a go. And I bought some other bits and pieces off this site as well, so it was very, very expensive postage, absolutely really expensive, but because I bought a few bits and pieces, oh, and a minimum purchase as well, so that didn't help. But there was a couple of bits and pieces that I you know, thought to myself, oh yeah, I'll give that a go. So yeah, you know, expensive, but as it happens, it turns out we've now got a working loco. But no thanks to anybody else. So yeah. So beware, you know, if to model HO in this country, you know, you don't get, you can buy the models and everything, but you don't get any backup. And I don't know what happens when it comes to warranties, you know, when you cut it all the way back here. If you think returning your, you know, your new loco and everything back to the manufacturer that's just been released, your new super duper models, and you sort of think to yourself, oh, I've got to ship it back. You can imagine what would be the outcome if you got to ship it back abroad again. God, blimey. Anyway, so thank you very, very much for sticking with this video. It's not about Torridon Road, because that's all running fine. So I haven't got any clips to show you. I've been sort of devoting. It was too hot, wasn't it? We had heat wave after heat wave this summer. So today is absolutely gorgeous, as I said. So, and I'm very happy to make this video so my brother can see it before I can get it back to him. He can see it on the YouTube that it's all running sweet. All right, Richard. So yeah, it's be coming down, seeing you soon. All right. But to everybody else, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. All right. But until then, take care, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.